Welcome to Module 3, Verb and Conjugation.
In this module, you will gain a basic understanding of Japanese verb types and learn how to change verbs from plain form to polite form. You will practice your first verb conjugations today.
This is today's agenda. Verb groups, formal conjugation, particles. Verb groups. First, let's talk about verb groups. In Japanese, we have three different kinds of verbs. First, we have root verbs. Root verbs are the verbs that end with ru and have an I or the E letter before ru. For example, 食べる means to eat. 食べる is written T-A-B-E-R-U. So there is ru sounds at the end and there is E comes before ru. So that's how you know you have root verb. Next, we have U verbs. U verbs are the verbs that end with U, or the verbs end with ru, and there is no I or E comes before ru. For example, 会う means to meet. 会う contains U at the end of the verb. Then we have irregular verbs. する and 来る. する means to do something. 来る means to come. They are irregulars because they don't follow the usual conjugation rules. Formal conjugation. Now let's talk about the formal conjugation rule. For root verbs, if you are conjugating them, you simply drop ru, ru letters at the end of the verb, and then you add masu, masen for present tense, mashita, masen deshita for the past tense. Let's try conjugating this verb. 見せる means to show. Here is the answer. 見せます。見せません。見せました。見せませんでした。Now, use some verbs from the module flashcard and practice conjugating them on your own. Next, let's move on to U verbs. For U verbs, you drop final letter U, even for verbs which end with ru but doesn't have an I or E before ru. You still drop U letter only. After dropping the letter U, you add I, and then you add masu, masen, mashita, masen deshita. Let's conjugate this verb, 買う, which means to buy something. Here is the answer. 買います。買いません。買いました。買いませんでした。Okay? Now, let's review irregular verbs again. As I mentioned before, する and 来る follow their own patterns. する becomes します。来る becomes 来ます when they are formal form. Basically, す change it to し and く change it to き. Okay? So you can probably guess the negative and the past forms now, right? They follow the same patterns. Try conjugating the other verbs on your own. Next, let's talk about particles. We have already talked about several particles in previous module. What do we know so far? Let's review the particles we have learned. What marks the topic? To connect nouns. Wo marks the direct object. Ga highlights or emphasizes information. No shows positions or connections between the noun. Ka marks a question. I hope you are starting to understand particles, but if not, that's totally fine. That's why I'm here. Now let's talk about some particles that are commonly used. Particle ni is used for a specific point in time, a destination, a location of existence. That is a lot of use, but understanding them is very important. So here are examples of each one. Specific point in time. 7時に行きます。7時 means 7 o'clock. This is from the last module. 7時に indicate at 7 o'clock. Because you are talking about a specific time here, you go to somewhere at 7. So you're gonna put the particle ni after the specific time. And then you finish your sentence with 行きます, which is a verb to go. Next is destination. 7時に学校に行きます, which means you go to school at 7. 7時に, this is a part of the previous sentence. 学校に行きます. 学校 in this sentence is placed as a destination. So you're gonna use the particle ni after the name of the destination. Location of existence. 7時に学校にいます means I'm at school at 7. So here, after 学校, you're gonna use a particle ni again, but this time we have a different verb which is います. います indicate to be or to exist. So if you're talking about someone is located somewhere or something is located somewhere, you're gonna use the particle ni after the name of the location you are at or something is at. De comes after the location of an action or shows a method. Location of action. 学校で食べます. 学校 here is the place where you are eating at. So if you're doing certain action at a specific location, you're gonna use the particle de. Don't get confused with the particle ni, because de is used to indicate a location of action. Method. 車で行きます. 車 is a car. You go by car. This shows a method of going somewhere. You can think of the particle de as by. Just be careful with the word order, because in English you say by car, but we say car by in Japanese. So just don't get confused with the word order. Another example. 日本語で話します. I speak in Japanese. 日本語 is Japanese language. De indicate in. 話します means speak. Okay? Now let's try translating some sentences on your own. I go to school by car. 学校に車で行きます。You can also change the word order. You can also say 車で学校に行きます。What you put first is what you emphasize in a sentence. Next, I eat a meal at school.「学校でご飯を食べます」or you can say「ご飯を学校で食べます」Today we have learned に for time, destination, and place of existence. で for place of action and method. Don't worry, we will keep using particles in the future lessons. Here is your homework for today. お疲れ様でした。I will see you in the next module. Customers don't greet in Japan. What?
よろしくお願いします。これ1個お願いします。すみません、トイレどこですか？ありがとうございます。どうぞ、どうぞどうぞ。いただきます。